You're listening to the Spark Your Light podcast, episode number 309, Creative Ideas to Spark Your Light. This episode is really important because so often we can feel unsparked, and that might be why you're tuning into this episode. But it's easy to feel stuck in a slump. I was actually reading my son, Oh, the Places You Will Go, last night before bed, one of our favorite books, which we try to read often. And when I think about the one page that talks about unslumping yourself, it talks about how unslumping yourself is a hard thing to do and that it's not fun. And I know all of us have been in that position before where we just feel a little stuck. We feel a little sluggish, and we desire and crave that spark. So I wanted to talk today about some of the things that I do when I'm feeling that way to help me reconnect with the spark and ultimately feel inspired again, because that's one of the best places to find yourself. So the first thing that I think is important is to go outside your normal routine. And this can be with a variety of things. So one thing I like to do is listen to different podcasts, ones that I've never listened to before. How do I find them? Sometimes I actually just go with the recommended podcasts and I'll look at the titles, and there might be one that really interests me. And usually if there's one episode that really interests me, there might be multiple on that same podcast that interests me. And oftentimes when I'm following what interests me, I'm following my spark, right? And so I'm just by that simple act of listening to something, I'm putting myself in that vibration of being sparked for that 20 or 30 minutes or however long the podcast is. So that's a really great way to just reconnect. You can also go outside of your routine in lots of ways. You might go to lunch somewhere you haven't been in a long time or you don't typically go to, but somewhere, again, that you're curious about, that when you think about going there, you get excited. Maybe you walk a different route in your morning walk and you walk a route that you think that would be fun. So you just have to get outside of the normal routine and start to, in really small ways, follow that spark. And if following the spark feels intimidating, just ask yourself, what interests me? What am I curious about? You don't even have to go as far as using the word excites you, because when you're in a slump, maybe nothing excites you, but something might hold a little bit of curiosity for you. And that's a good place to start. The other thing about being in a slump is that usually you're there for a reason. Now, the reason might be a real 3D physical reason, meaning something happened in your life that caused you to then be feeling unsparked in a slump. But you also have all of the thoughts that came with that situation that are weighing you down. So while you might not be able to change the physical circumstance, you can start to unravel some of those negative thoughts or some of the confusion. This isn't about toxic positivity. This is really like working through what's bogging you down. So why are you feeling weighed down? What's coming up? So my recommendation is always to journal. I love journaling, but you could do this in whatever way works for you. You could talk to a friend, a therapist, a loved one. You could voice note saying it out loud to yourself and listen back. You could journal, however you want to do it. But the goal is to get it all out. So brain dump whatever it is that's bothering you, whatever you feel like is weighing you down, and start to work through it. You want to get to the other side. So once you get it all out, you want to start to maybe see it differently or think about what changes you might want to make in your life if this is making you feel that way. And little by little, you can start to unravel and work through and get to the other side. And you know you're on the other side because you no longer feel weighed down, even before you've made the change. So if you decided, I'm going to change this certain thing in my life, but you haven't done it yet because it requires, various action steps, just deciding that you're making the change and actually fully meaning it, you're going to feel lighter if you've made it to the other side. If that decision, it doesn't make you feel any lighter, then you're not there yet. There's more work to do. So keep going. And the reason that this is so important is because imagine trying to chase your spark. Imagine your spark is like a physical sparkler that is just moving, and it's moving fast, and you are trying to run after it and catch it, okay? But you have 15-pound weights on each of your ankles. And so you can only run so fast. And you can never catch your spark despite your best efforts because you haven't worked through and let go of all of this weight that's dragging you down. So when you work through it, you just take off those ankle weights and you can catch up to that spark nice and quickly. So this step is really important, even though it's maybe not as fun. The next thing that I think is really important is to connect with yourself when you're feeling lowest energy. That might sound funny, but I think this is a way to get through to your true inspiration, to what you truly want to focus on, not what you think you should. Because when you're exhausted, like imagine it's 9 p.m. and you've just gotten in bed, you had a really long day, and you're going to pick up a book and read it. You're not going to pick up the book you think you should read because multiple people have recommended it to you. You're going to pick up the book that you're actually interested in. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a fiction book or a book about business or something that is so off the wall you've never even read anything like it before. That is where your spark is leading you to. And sometimes our spark doesn't directly get us to the outcome in a certain area of life we're looking for. So let's say you're looking for your spark in your career and you've been on a journey, which I know so many of us are. But what you really want to do is take a yoga class at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday, one of those yin yoga, candlelit, very relaxing. That could lead you to your spark because you may come up with an idea or have a thought that then leads to something else. But your spark also doesn't have to come in that moment. It might just be something you want to do, right? That feels good. And that's how you get closer. And as long as you're chasing what's sparking you at the moment, it will all unfold in divine timing. So you might not know exactly where your career is going right now, and you might want to know, but the truth is you might not be able to know for 3 more years because there is a powerful life-changing event that's going to happen to you that's going to completely change the path of your career. But you can't know that until you've lived those events and experiences. So the goal isn't to get to the end of the obstacle course. The goal is to enjoy the journey and just go with it. So finding your spark, yes, it's about direction, but it's also about joy in the present. And I think that's really important too. So follow your bliss. Listen to the things you want to do when you are at your lowest energy, when you are just feeling like, man, I'm so tired, or it's so early, I don't want to do, X, Y, or Z things. Sometimes those will be really good cues as well. So I hope these tips help you in finding some new ways to reconnect with your spark. And if you are in a slump, know that it will end. Keep moving forward. Take one step at a time and just reach for a little bit more of that spark day after day. And before you know it, you're going to be feeling inspired all over again. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next episode.